back today with part 2 of our Mama Bear Swirl tumbler. I went ahead and I got a layer of epoxy on this last night and it's completely cured. It's not totally smooth, but that's okay. It really doesn't need to be. I've mixed up about 20 milliliters, and for this step I always use fast set. I just find it works better. Whenever I've used regular epoxy on this step, it runs too much and I don't have as much control over where my white's gonna go as I do when I use fast set. So I just want to just get a decent layer on there. And 20 milliliters should be plenty for this. I normally do about 5 of these at a time, so I probably overestimated on this step. And I don't typically use this turner, but it's the only single that I have that I could really video with. Otherwise, I would have to haul over a 5-cup turner, and that would just be a mess. So I'm just getting a nice smooth layer on there. Doesn't have to be too heavy. All right, that should be good. So I've still got some left over, and I'm gonna go ahead. I use Alumilite white epoxy dye in this. I've seen some people use acrylic paint in it. I just don't like how sticky and runny that makes my epoxy when I try and put it on, and I've not gotten good results from using it. I put maybe 2 drops in, and it just depends on how opaque you want it to be. All right, so you're gonna put, I always do 3 swirls going across. I do 3, I don't do 4, I don't do 2, I do 3. That's just the magic number that I've kind of come up with, and it seems to work really well. So I just kind of do 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so I've just got 3 lines on there. I've still got a lot left over, so maybe you don't need 20 milliliters if you're just doing 1. And then I use my torch. I do not use a heat gun. I've never gotten good results from a heat gun. And I take it off of here. I take it off. I have more control over which direction, because I don't like it when it all just swirls and muddles up. And I'll just go over it everywhere to make sure I'm getting all the bubbles. And then my biggest question I get is, how do I get all the cells? And I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I burn it. So you don't wanna like burn it, but you wanna like scorch it. And I just kind of hold it and I'll move it down and I'll, wherever I see that I want. And really, if you're doing this, I typically have my mask on. You don't want to be burning epoxy and then breathing it in. So please wear your masks. And I like fast set because once it starts, it's not going to run forever. I can kind of just hold it and play with it, and it's gonna stop running pretty soon. Whereas with regular epoxy, it's gonna keep running and keep running and keep running. So I always use the fast set. That way I've got when I put it back on my turner, I've got a really good idea of how it's going to look when it's finished. With regular epoxy, you put it on there, you come back an hour later, and it looks completely different because it's just still turning. Let me get the bottom. And that's it. Sometimes you have some drips, so make sure you're not wearing anything super nice. I'm constantly getting drips on my floor and stepping in them. So make sure you have shoes. But that's it. Now I'm going to let this spin. It's fast set, so it's going to take 2 or 3 hours. And then it's already going to be ready for your decal. So at that point, you're going to put your decal on. I always typically put my decal over where my finer glitters are, because that's where it's going to be smooth. This whole thing is not going to be completely smooth after this. And I'll put my decal on, give it a layer of epoxy, and then I'm going to go through with my sanding block and just sand the crap out of it. I'll do my rim with my Dremel, and then I'll give it the final layer. And that's it. That's the whole thing. So thanks. If you have any tutorials you want to see me do, put them in the comments. I don't know how often I'm going to be making them, but hopefully I'll be doing some more soon. And that's it. If you have any questions, leave them down there. I will link this in the description. And that's it. Thank you.